Hi, and welcome. I'm Donna Parker, and I'm so happy you've decided to join me today. I'm going to be talking about exhaustion and how you can restore, replenish, and rejuvenate your body. Now, who doesn't feel fatigued, exhausted, and stressed these days? I don't know anybody who doesn't. Well, I'm going to share with you my 5 shifts that I use to restore my body. And then these shifts are things that you can implement today that are going to help you supercharge your energy.
So let's get started. First off, who is this for? So what am I talking about exhaustion? Well, exhaustion comes in fatigue and brain fog, weight gain, especially around the middle, or even when you feel wired and tired. So I'm going to take 30 minutes. I'm going to be as concise as possible because I know your time is precious. And I'm going to talk about, in those 30 minutes, I'm going to cover my 5 shifts that I've developed to repair your adrenals and get you feeling great again. Now, first off, I'm going to talk about what you do that's unconscious, that creates these hidden barriers that really prevent you from succeeding. I'm also going to give you some tips on how to eliminate your brain fog, which really connects to sugar cravings, but without giving up all the foods you love to eat. And I'm also going to talk about how to heal your gut, which is going to boost your immune system. And that's going to help with colds and flu and reduce illnesses. And also give you some tips on how to sleep better sleep hygiene. And that's going to get you sleeping like a hibernating bear, where you're going to wake up feeling refreshed without taking prescription drugs. Now, I promise you that I am going to give you the step-by-step strategy to boost your energy, increase your happiness, and get your life back on track. Okay, so does this sound like you? Are you fatigued and exhausted on a daily basis? Do you have muscle pain all over your body, or maybe just joint pain in certain areas? Are you tired during the day, and then when it's time for bed, you wake up like you've got all this energy? Have you gained weight around the middle and can't lose it no matter how much you work out or how little you eat? Do you tend to be irritable or maybe short-tempered with coworkers or friends or even your family and children? And do you wake up between like 3 and 5 a.m. feeling anxious for no reason? Or wake up when the alarm goes off and feels anxious? Those are some signs that you are really fatigued. Now, the big one, do you feel exhausted and overwhelmed on a regular basis? And it feels like you just can't take anything more in. You can't handle one more thing. Well, if any of those things sound like you, then I have great news for you. None of those things are the real problem. Now, the real problem, it's because you haven't made these shifts. And once you've made them, you're going to feel a lot better. I'm going to talk about those in just a minute. But first, I want to make sure to let you know that once you make these shifts, you're going to sleep through the night and wake up feeling vibrant. You're going to move easily through your day without feeling overwhelm and anxiety and exhaustion. You're going to have more energy to play with your kids, your pets, have time with your friends. You're really going to be in love with your life again. And you'll all do this all while reconnecting to your authentic self and being in the life that you really want to have. Now, here's what you need to know. The 5 shifts to regain your energy and get your life back, that's exactly what I'm going to share with you today. First off, before we get started there, let me share a little bit about me and my background. Now, I bring over 30 years of health and wellness experience. I have certifications. I have a ton of certifications, but the primary ones are 5-element acupuncture, health coaching, and functional nutrition. I host a weekly radio show where I interview experts, health experts from all over the US, And we share valuable information, and I also share valuable information on the show to make your life healthier. I'm an author of a book called A Clear Path to a Vibrant Life, and it is a guide where you take several weeks out of your life and implement good strategies to make yourself healthier. I've been a guest on several health-related shows such as Late Night Health, iHeartRadio, and Empire Radio. And I've also published several articles on health websites as well as print publication. So I want to share this information with you so you know that I am coming from a lot of experience that I can share with you. Now, fatigue and exhaustion can be sometimes called adrenal fatigue. And I wanted to take a minute to share with you about adrenal fatigue because you might get a better picture of where you are in these different stages. And maybe you're not even in stage 1 yet, and you're just really exhausted all the time, and we want to keep you out of these stages of adrenal fatigue. But I wanted to share with you what are the typical stages that people go through when they start getting exhausted. And the first stage is where you have high cortisol levels, and cortisol is the stress hormone. And those levels can actually kind of they go up at night when you don't need them to go up, and that can cause insomnia as well as insulin resistance. Now that insulin resistance turns your abdominal area into a fat zone, and that's because your body is thinking, it's so stressed it thinks that there's going to be a famine, and what it does is it holds on to fat so that you're going to survive that famine. So that's a natural response from your body when you're stressed. And when you have that nighttime cortisol, you're going to feel more energized at night, and it's kind of like a wired feeling, not a nice calm energy feeling. Now, this can go on for a long time. Our bodies can handle stress for a very long time, years even, before it moves into the various stages. So then you can, after you've been wired and tired for a while, a long time, depending on your body, it moves into stressed and tired. Now, stressed and tired is often where you wake up at 3 a.m. And what's interesting is that 3 a.m., 3 to 5 a.m. is usually the time when people wake up, and that is the time of the liver in Chinese medicine. And when you're stressed, it stresses out the liver meridian. And it's so interesting because that is kind of your liver's waking up, the meridian time, and your body is really stressed. And it's often people have a hard time falling back to sleep once they're woken up between 3 and 5. And what happens is this is when your cortisol levels, they're peaking too early and they're keeping you awake, and then they drop mid-morning when you need to be awake, and then you are wanting to sleep. And so this leaves you with energy when you want to sleep, and it leaves you tired when you need to be alert. And it's kind of this stressed out and tired cycle. Now, this is a stage where you can obviously, like the first stage, stay in it for a very long amount of time. But eventually, if you don't do anything to heal your body in these stages, you're going to go to the final stage, which is the burnout stage. Now, this is when I see people, they're exhausted. They're just flat out exhausted day in and day out. When we do a saliva cortisol test, their cortisol levels are flat. They have nothing left to give. Their body is just tired. And I also see at this point that often the thyroid starts to be affected and becomes part of the overall condition. So some of you might have some thyroid conditions and you're exhausted, even though you're taking thyroid medication. So it kind of can get complicated of all the things that can be affected when you're stressed out and tired on a regular basis. So here I want to share with you the 5 shifts that I discovered. And first off, I want to share with you my story of how I discovered these shifts. Now, I was newly married. I was working 30 hours a week. Plus, I was starting my private acupuncture business on the side of working 30 hours. And I had a newborn baby. And I did this at the age of 40. So it wasn't like I was a young spring chicken either. So, and I had almost no downtime. And I remember when I was pregnant, I was one day away from delivering because my due date was like July 4th or something. And I was working, he was late. I was working up to one day before that due date. And I was still working an 8-hour shift in the acupuncture clinic at my school. I was beyond exhausted. It was just crazy making. And the nonstop schedule continued for the next several years. I remember my body would just be so tired. I would ache all over. I was irritable a lot more often than I'd like. I was holding on to weight. I was exercising at boot camps at 5 o'clock in the morning because it was the only time I could fit in between, my schedule and my son waking up and breastfeeding and all the craziness that I was trying to do to make my body healthy again, but I was just burning it out and it was just too exhausted. And then on a mental level, I was trying to be a perfectionist. I really wanted to do a great job at everything. So I was trying to be a perfect mom and a perfect wife and a perfect acupuncturist. And I was just doing this through a veil of exhaustion and fatigue. And that's when I knew I had to make a change. I knew that I could not continue like this. Wasn't doing anything very well, and I knew I had to make a change. So the way I make change and start to find out what I should do next is I do research. So I researched all my options. I looked into different methods, different products, different information. And what I did was, over time, I would try different things on myself and see what would work. And as I started to figure out what worked for me, I started seeing changes in my life. And I not only got my life back on track and I lost the weight and I regained my energy, but I was also then able to take those things that I learned and coach my patients and my clients through these shifts so that they could feel better and get on the path of recovery and getting their energy and their life back. And so now I want to share those shifts with you. So there are 5 steps that you need to do to repair your adrenals and feel more energy, sleep better, and be happier in your life. And I'm going to walk you through those 5 shifts. Now, the first one is a big one. It's self-sabotage. Most people self-sabotage their success. And if you don't change that internal mechanism for sabotage, you're just going to keep repeating the pattern. You need to take control of your emotional life, and you need to look at your self-limiting beliefs that can really stop you in your tracks. Now, we all have self-limiting beliefs, whether we realize it or not. And those are the things the thoughts that kind of poke around in your brain and they come up, and I know you know what I'm talking about. Things like, oh, I'm not good enough, or I'm too fat, or I just can't do that, or I'll never be able to succeed. And those are the things. There's a huge list, right? We all have our internal self-limiting beliefs, the ones that just, this is a belief that stops us in our tracks. And you know what I'm talking about. You need to control your emotional life and stop the negative self-talk. Another example of self-sabotage could be when you're pushing yourself no matter what, which I was doing. I gave you great examples about what I was doing. Finding time for others, but not for yourself. Saying yes when you really want to say no. And doing things where you feel you have to do them perfectly. So the list is endless. But you are probably thinking of some examples right now that you do in your life. So you need to set your intentions every day. This is how you change it. You need to make changes to get a healthy trigger to your emotional responses. And you have to remember it's all about progress, not perfection. So what do I mean by this? So making changes takes a daily commitment. It's kind of like you don't go to the gym once and then come home and go, woohoo, I've got an excellent fit body, and you never have to go to the gym again, right? It kind of is like you go to the gym several times a week for the rest of your life, and that's how you get a better body, that's how you stay in shape, and that's how you stay healthy. So it's the same thing with the emotional health. It's about making those small choices that you make on a daily or even hourly basis that's going to make a change in your life. When you start to experience those changes in your life, sometimes it can make you feel a little bit more emotional. So you may be kind of subconsciously attached to how you used to feel. It's not, people call it your comfort zone, but I find it's it's not a safe area. It's just familiar, and it's not very comfortable, but it's familiar. And when you pull yourself out of that familiar zone, you feel a little uncomfortable, and you can be kind of emotionally vulnerable as you begin to heal. You might have things come up like fear or anxiety, and they may be unexpected setbacks that happen because of that. But remember, it's about progress, not perfection. I want to share with you a story. I had a patient who came in on a regular basis, and every time she came in, she was kind of circling around in the same emotional spot. She had the same emotional triggers. And so what happened was, as she talked over time, we were able to identify her patterns. And so when I identified and we spoke about her patterns, she was able to say, oh yeah, I see what I do. I see my pattern. And then each week as she went home, she was more conscious about those patterns, and she could catch herself in that moment and say, whoops, here I go. Here's my pattern again. Here's my self-sabotage. Here's my self-limiting beliefs and my thoughts. And then once she was able to kind of pay attention to those thoughts, she was able to stop them, change them, and then she began to make changes in her life that were more healthy, and she also felt happier as a result. So healing your exhaustion and fatigue is going to take a real commitment on a daily basis, because this is a process, and it's about changing old habits and replacing them with new, healthier ones. And once you stop that self-sabotage loop, you will be able to move forward with your healing process. Does that make sense? Next off, let's talk about cleaning out your pantry, your brain, and your house. So what you have to do is go through that pantry and toss out all those high glycemic foods. You need to take a media fast, and you need to toss out the cleaning products that are filled with chemicals. Okay, so what do I mean here? High glycemic foods, those are the ones that spike your blood sugar levels and then leave you crashed and exhausted. These are the kinds of foods that leave your brain feeling foggy and your body feeling exhausted. Cleaning out your pantry means getting rid of the processed junk food and that's filled with chemicals, that these chemicals add more of a toxic load to your adrenals. And when you eat healthy meals filled with whole foods, lots of vegetables, and clean proteins, you're going to stop your sugar cravings and be able to make it through your day with a clear mind and energy to spare. And that's what we want. Now, okay, media fast. What do I mean by that? Well, we have a constant barrage of negative media, and that really taxes your brain and your body. And the stress depletes your adrenals even further. And did you know that your brain doesn't know the difference between reality and fantasy? So if you're watching something very stressful on TV, your body is actually going to be having a physiological stress response as a result. I'll give you a good example. I was watching a movie the other night. It was one of those feel-good movies about an underdog basketball team. girls college basketball team, and the one player was coming up and she was about to do the free throw that was going to win the game, and I was clenched in fear and anxiety that she wasn't going to make it, because I didn't know how the movie turned out, right? It could go either way, you know, with movies, and it was based on a true story, and I was rooting for her to make that basket. But you know what? I felt all those feelings in my body, even though I was watching a movie. And luckily she made the basket, and then the anxiety and the fear and tension all turned to relief and happiness. But that's what I'm saying, is when you're watching things that are kind of negative coming at you all the time, your body's just going to constantly have that stress response. And you don't want the added stress response of things that you don't have control over. So be aware and stop watching so much news and stop taking in so much negative information. I just don't even watch that stuff. It's just not good for my body. So lastly, cleaning products. Okay, now our homes are filled with chemical toxins, and those can overload your system and overload your adrenals. And we have toxic glues that hold down carpet and flooring. You have paint on your walls. You have fire retardant in your furniture and your blankets. And the one thing that you do have control over, the added chemicals, are your cleaning products. So there are some really great, safe products out there. Simple things like vinegar and water, and you can find all these recipes online, but you can also find some good, safe cleaning products. And I would say that you start there with your cleaning products, because that is something you have control over, and you don't want to add any more toxins to your environment than already exist in your home. So another great thing you can do is open your windows. It sounds simple, but it does work. Even in the wintertime, if you can just open your windows for a little bit, get some fresh air in your house, you're actually going to circulate the toxins out and get some clean air in. And those things are floating around in the air, and you want them to get out of your home. So remember to open your windows and your doors and let some fresh air in. And this is not only good for you, but it's also good for your pets. Remember, if you do have pets in your house or little children, they have a little bit more sensitivity with their lungs and their skins than you do as an adult. So do that, open your windows, get the air cleaned out, and change your cleaning products. Now, negative thinking is going to keep you stressed out, and your body is not going to be able to heal. And everything you put on your skin shows up in your bloodstream within 20 minutes. So think about all the chemicals that you're putting on your body on a daily basis. Lastly, you can't get all your nutrients that your body needs for optimal health from your food. You have to take pharmaceutical grade supplements and herbs if some herbs are essential for your health and wellness. So I can't tell you how many patients get stuck in a negative thought loop, and this creates anxiety and stress. Once you're able to stop that negative loop, your body will be able to create more energy, and it's going to heal and repair itself, and you're going to feel wonderful. Now let's talk about skin products. Did you know that the average person puts about 7 bath and body products on their body per day? So most of those products are going to be filled with preservative, chemicals, and also hormones. Yes, you heard it, hormones. Anything that says anti-aging on it contains some kind of hormone. So think about it. You're putting in all these things into your body, and within 20 minutes, it's going to be in your bloodstream. So you have to be very clear about what you're putting on your skin. And I have to tell you, I am always amazed when I have patients come in who say, no, I don't take any supplements because I eat a really good diet. And I agree, a healthy diet is essential for health. But given that our food now contains less nutrients than it did just 100 years ago, and with all the processing and chemicals and farming that goes on, you need to take a good nutritional supplement to have optimal levels of nutrition in your body. Now, first off, I don't like anything that's over the counter because it's only regulated by the FDA, and the FDA is about Food and Drug Administration. So that's about things that aren't going to kill you, but it doesn't have any standards for potency, for you don't even really know what's in them for sure, and you don't even know if those supplements are dissolving when you take them in your body. And did you know that you'd have to eat pounds of spinach per day to be able to get your recommended daily allowance of iron? So it's just not possible to eat all the food that you need to get all your nutrients, and you need to have a pharmaceutical grade nutritional supplement. That's the standard, okay? So clean out your home, your brain, and take pharmaceutical grade nutritional supplements, and those are the keys for laying the foundation for a healthier life. Okay, the next thing I want to talk about is healing your gut, because your gut is going to make you happier and healthier. So many of you might know, but the gut is now considered the second brain. And so in the past, the gut was thought of as just some place where you digested your food. But the gut is really related to overall health. And if your gut is out of balance, so many other health issues are more likely to occur. It's really not about gas and bloating, but you may have signs of fatigue and exhaustion, muscle pain, joint pain, sinus problems, headaches, sleep problems, weight gain, PMS, or even skin problems such as eczema, acne, rashes, and psoriasis. Yes, that full list can all be part of the digestive system. And we used to think that digestive system was just that, only digestion. But now there's a lot of scientific evidence that shows that your gut affects your brain and your body. So over time, what can happen is with stress, the lining of the gut becomes impaired, and this allows microscopic food particles to slip out and circulate in the bloodstream. And so this is not where you want food particles. They do not belong in the bloodstream. And then when that happens, it triggers your body to have an immune response. And what's happening is it can see those food particles as foreign bodies and objects, so that it starts to have an autoimmune response, and you can start having food allergies or any other kind of autoimmune conditions. So repairing your gut and changing some habits like eating too quickly can be a key to your health and repairing your adrenals. So how do you heal your gut, and what do you eat? Well, this is what you want to do. You want to eliminate the toxins in your food. So buy organic whenever possible, especially through the Dirty Dozen from the environmentalworkinggroup.org. Can give you a list of the Dirty Dozen. So you're going to eat prebiotic foods. You're going to take probiotics. So you're going to do things like kefir, probiotics, sauerkraut. You want to eat clean, whole foods. So get away from the packaged stuff. And you want to take your daily supplements as well as your gut healing herbs. Okay, so let's recap here. So at this point, it's clear you need to stop the cycle of self-sabotage. You need to clean out your pantry, your brain, and your house. We got all that. And it's also clear that you can't eat enough foods to get all the nutrients that your body needs to repair your adrenals, as well as to just stay optimal health levels. And lastly, your gut needs to be healed in order to heal your whole body. So let's go on. We're going to look at sleep and stress and how does that affect your healing process. Now, better sleep is going to help you lose weight. So poor sleep increases hormone levels like cortisol, and that causes your body to gain weight. People who are fatigued tend to eat more carbs and sugar because you're trying to get the energy going. And poor quality sleep also affects your cholesterol levels. That is true. So did you know that people who are tired in the morning, they tend to skip breakfast, and then they eat an average of 80% more calories throughout the day. Now, those calories, that's a huge 80%. That's a lot of extra calories, and most of those calories are consumed late at night. And when that happens, you wake up and you're not hungry for breakfast. So you kind of get into this cycle of not eating well in the morning, eating too much at night, and going on and on and on. And so when you need to sleep better, eat some breakfast and break the cycle of consuming too many carbs. And when you don't sleep well, what happens is your caveman brain steps in and says, oh my goodness, we're stressed. We're not sleeping well. There must be a famine coming or something. So you kind of snap into survival mechanism, and the body holds onto the fat around the belly, so that you can survive. And our bodies are really good at being in survival mechanism. So better sleep is going to help you reduce some of that weight. So you need to create a sleep hygiene routine where you're getting off electronics early in the evening, you're dimming your lights, and you're taking support herbs if you need, like melatonin or things like that can kind of help you calm down and sleep better. Or depending on if you're wired or tired, you might need some different kind of adrenal support herbs that can help you calm down that spinning brain and the thought process, that can help you relax to fall asleep. And once you get into that routine, you shouldn't need those herbs on a regular basis, but you may need them initially to kind of help calm down your body and get into sleep. Now, for me, gosh, the first 2 years of my son's life, he woke up every 2 to 3 hours, and I was so sleep deprived, it wasn't funny at all. So what was happening to me was I was sleep deprived, so then I was craving carbs and sugar and caffeine, and I was just doing these things throughout the day to get me through the day, to give me enough energy. And then when it was time to sleep, I was so wired and tired, I couldn't fall asleep easily. And then the cycle would start again. It was a repetitive mess, seriously. So getting good sleep on a nightly basis is so crucial for your good health. Establishing a nightly routine will help you do this more effectively. So regular and early bedtimes will work with your body's natural rhythms. So when you're in harmony with that rhythm, you will sleep more soundly and wake up more energized. So now I know some of you may have small children, and you can't help being woken up by them in the evening. But there are ways. If you get into the sleep routine and you get to bed early, you're going to fall asleep more easily after they wake you up, and you are going to get deeper, longer sleep, and you're going to feel more refreshed in the morning. So the other thing is I'm always surprised when a client comes in and says, no, I'm a night owl. I work better from midnight to 2 a.m. or whatever the hours are. Anytime after 10 o'clock to me is considered a night owl. Now, that does work when you're a teenager, because the melatonin is released at different times when you're a teenager. But once you get into your 20s, your melatonin shifts more to the adult cycle of 10 o'clock. And if you continue along your teenage years and you continue kind of with that sleep pattern, you're actually training yourself to be a night owl. You're not naturally a night owl. And so by staying up late, you're going to burn out the energy that is actually really supposed to be restoring and rejuvenating and replenishing your body. Does that make sense? Okay, the next thing. You need to invest in a support system. Now, everyone needs support in their lives, that's obvious, and we all do well with friends and community. But when you're faced with exhaustion and brain fog, you're going to need it more than most. And I've just shared with you my steps of how you can repair your body. So without seeking support in this training, you may not have known how to begin to repair your health. A good support system is going to give you guidance and help you implement the strategies that you need to heal. A good support system should include a few things. And first off, it should be a group of people with similar needs so that you can share your experiences and learn from them. I do have a Facebook group, and we have people in all stages of exhaustion and fatigue. And what happens is we kind of share with each other and give tips and support for what's going on. And the other thing I want to point out is when you go to traditional medicine, your primary care physician, they don't often recognize exhaustion or adrenal fatigue or brain fog as any kind of medical condition. So there's not a prescription to heal that. So it can be really frustrating when you go the doctor route and you don't really get any information on what to do. So today, this is what I promised, and this is what we talked about. We talked about removing the hidden barriers that stop you from succeeding with those self-limiting beliefs, eliminating your brain fog and sugar cravings. And you don't have to give up all the food you love, but you do have to get into a better cycle of eating. There are solutions for healing your gut, and we talked about those. And when you heal your gut, you're going to boost your immune system, and that's going to help you with colds and flus and illness in general. And get into a better sleep routine. And this is going to get you sleeping like a hibernating bear so that you can wake up refreshed and feeling awesome. So here, let's just summarize what you need to eliminate your exhaustion and boost your energy. You need to shift your self-limiting beliefs. You need to make smart food choices and reduce your stress. You need to heal your gut. You need to get good sleep throughout the entire night. And you need to invest in a support system. So here are my 5 shifts that if you implement these, you're going to start to repair your body and you're going to relieve yourself and get more energy and get rid of that exhaustion. Okay, so here you are. You have the information. You now have a choice. So you can take this information and try to implement it or just blow it off and ignore it as like, oh, that was some great ideas. I don't really know what to do with it. But if you do that, you're going to continue to slug through your life and your days feeling exhausted and irritable and brain fogged. And you know you're going to stay stuck and carrying that feeling of bloated and exhaustion and hating the fact that fatigue is every part of your day. You came here because you're feeling depleted, frustrated, and you need someone to finally give you that solution that you've been asking for. I believe there are no accidents, and you're here for a reason today, and it's time for you to take control of your health and do something about it. You're ready to heal your body, feel joy again, and get your life back. Does that make sense? Great. Then here's what I have for you, and here's how I can help. I've actually set aside some time this week, and I would suggest that you give me a call and we get together and see what is going on for you. Whatever your biggest challenges are, I've seen them and I know how you can overcome them. And this call with me is totally free. We'll just talk for about 30 minutes. We'll look at what are your biggest challenges, and then we'll create some ideas and plans that you can use to implement into your life that day to start getting on a better track for health and relieving your fatigue. Now, this isn't for everyone, but I will work with people who are absolutely committed to making changes in their lives. And if you're willing to trust the process, that's going to work best for you. This is not for somebody who jumps from program to program or system to system, never succeeding and complaining that it never works for them. And I really like to work with people who are committed to the highest standard of integrity. So why am I doing this? Well, I want to help you because I've been where you are now, and I know how that feels. You might want my help And if we feel like we're a good fit once we talk, I may invite you to become one of my new clients this month. Now, I do have very few spaces. I am very busy, but I love to open up to work to people who are ready to change and make commitment to getting their health back on track. So if we work together, I will put you through the same program that I used to heal myself and my patients and clients. This program is designed to get your energy back, heal your gut, boost your immune system, and have you sleeping deeply through the night. Now, if you want to talk to me and find out more about how we can work together, I invite you to go to healthcoachdonna.com/apply. Now, again, I only have a few spaces per week for these calls. So if you're very committed to making change, please apply today and we'll get on the phone together as soon as possible. So when you go to that page, there'll be a quick little survey that you can fill out, and that will prompt you then to go to my booking page and book a free strategy session with me, and it'll show you my calendar. It's super simple, and the questions, it's only about 5 questions, but that will give me some information so that I will be prepared before we talk. And I just want to share one more thing with you before I wrap this up, because we talked a lot about all the steps that you can use for healing your fatigue. And the truth is, when you have more energy, it filters down into everything in your life. And it's really about regaining your life and having the joy you deserve. And let me share with you one quick story from a client. And her name is Christy. And she's a busy lawyer, a mother of 2 children. And when she came to me, she was exhausted, stressed, and gaining weight. And here's what she said after working with me. She said, I was so frustrated about the spare tire muffin top that had taken up permanent residency around my middle for the last few years. I put off doing Donna's program because I was worried about being hungry. I had no idea how I'd manage to stop snacking at night, but I finally decided to take the plunge. Wow. Now, not only is the muffin top smaller and continuing to shrink, but I'm also not feeling bloated after eating. I have a lot more energy and I feel so good. I love how easy the program was and that I never felt hungry. I would absolutely recommend this program to anybody who wants to lose weight, break the sugar and empty carb cravings, improve their digestion, and have more energy, and just feel better, or all of the above. I still can't believe it was this easy. What was I waiting for? That's awesome. And I'm so glad that Christy shared that with me, because that is the experience that you'll have when we talk to each other and we come up with a plan of how to help you. So it's been great talking to you today. And I encourage you to go to healthcoachdonna.com/apply. Space is limited, so sign up now. And I look forward to talking to you very soon. Remember, it's about the daily small steps that lead to big changes. You have a great rest of your day.